All right, we are live. This is a bit of an abrupt stream and not the usual 5-minute AI intro video tonight, just getting to the point. Hopefully you can hear me. So it's started with myself being able to join in the 526th weekly knowledge seeker workshop with the Keshe Foundation in their Zoom. And at the end of it, got to talk with MrFixItick on YouTube there, who always the host or co-host of the workshops and the Zoom and YouTube live streams, as well as Keshe, Dr. Keshe, the founder and scientist behind the kfssi, Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, and what he has taught and teaches in his technology of plasma field physics as his main self-described field of science and topic, and how it connects in with what I myself major in experimenting with, working with, testing, originally hearing it's called Ormus from Dan, oh goodness, forgot the name, but David Hudson, there we go. Orbitally rearranged monoatomic, some, oh gosh, I always get that one wrong, but kudos to Dr. Keshe, who calls it GANS, gas, atom, nano, solid state. What does that mean? So envision, instead of your solid physical chunk of metal or element, not the liquid, not the water, but the gas, the single floaty molecule. But instead of it just, being invisible and out there and floating around, it is a nano, so micro small, solid state. So these single fluffy, the white atom ones, I believe, being the monoatomic, aka single atom state elements, which I'm able to reproduce and keep always in the pure white state, whether it's silver, pure silver cathode anode, pure gold cathode anode, pure silver or copper, zinc, you name it, get it in the white, or it becomes diatomic, or the blue state, a dioxide, because it's become oxidized. So instead of that single metal element atom being alone and a mono, it's now di because it's attached to an oxygen atom off of the process of the electrolysis that happens. That is my main study of scientific lab electrochemistry, electrolysis, or electrolysis chemistry, aka alchemy, of that field and subject. And that it also, one of the other states is the pure purple state. And here you can see at the bottom still, this is 100% made out of 24 karat gold. There's still the nano gold in the physical third solid state there at the very bottom, but then what was originally white monoatomic golds that it had created after leaving it out in the sun several times, it turned into and has sustained now for over a year, maybe 2 years actually, I believe, since I made this batch. The purple cluster, so it's a plasmid grouping of the gold from the white single atom state into clusters of them into this purple geometric isotope plasmid geometry and colored state of alchemy. Just like there is the blue oxidized, and then the red, which I believe is hydride or hydroxidized. The ancient alchemists called it the mercury state, the red state. I highly suspect that the majority of the red state is actually the metal elements attached to several hydrogens, maybe one, maybe multiple. I don't have the, oh my goodness, the machine, the spectral, it's where it burns it off, you get the colors of the elements, but that it's hydrogen along with the element, and that this red state, the key part of the red, what they called mercury, but it's the active, and it's what Sir Isaac Newton called the red mercury live state. And now this red metamaterial that they've been able to reproduce recently, coming out with, and it was, I forget what actual element compound it was that had the hydride on it that was red, but it was a confirmed superconducting state in this red state, and I believe at room temperature, just like currently they claim to only have the hot state, hot energy, where you literally have to have so much energy in that metal, in that environment with the pressure, heat to get that physical metal red hot into that meta superconducting state where it can either, you know, turn into a liquid, it can phase change. It's at that full energy red state. And the key is to be able to have your physical solid metal structures in the red meta state at a cold or room temperature environment without having to put all that heat energy force into getting it into that hot red state. But going on a bit of a rant and a tangent here, tying it back together, it's metamaterials, it's the aerogel. So another key part is that these, the monoatomic, I believe, is the key building block to the aerogel nanotechnology, which is this lattice crystal nanostructuring. And an example of it is on the, you can see the water line, and you can see that the sealed jar, there's a copper oxide. This, everything in this jar is solely copper, and it's in a blue state, it's in a white state, and it's in a red state, and it has remained in this active sealed state, this jar unopened. And these, I've got time-lapse pictures of it, blue, white, and red suspended, separated but stable colored state. So the blue oxidized, the red hydride, and the white mono metastate in between. And always the blue and red in the magnetic reactions too, right? One, the polar, the oxide and the hydrogen. Anyways, rambling along, it's all relevant. And another major part of it is the coils, the vortex coils, the triple coils, the triple solenoids, and Mehran Keshe, the Keshe Magrav triple copper wire coil systems and his designs, my work with them, my experiments with them over the years, so let's circle it all back, tie it together. What the heck is Bernie talking about? Years of the experiments and my time with and experiences following and participating in the Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seeker Workshop weekly Zooms over the last 10 years, a decade, I believe it now has been, and that I've actually started following and hearing and, actively following the Keshe story and technology and designs for about 20 years, I believe now, at least. And that it's been 10 years of participating on and off on the Zooms, but never being officially joining the Keshe Foundation organization and stuff like that. But what I've learned from it, what I've seen, the claims, the remarkable claims, and the remarkable experiences, and what I've witnessed, and I have definitely seen what appeared to be visual plasma fields coming out from certain Magrav GANs or Ormus monatomic material system interactions that they've experimented with over the years, as well as originally watching their GANs agricultural and GANs, what they call GANs water, what I call and lots call colloidal waters, or this Ormus water, structured water, but how it produces, and how, for those that have been following, how I used the purple gold colloidal water last year to grow a 6-foot lettuce plant, which was amazing. Anywho, while I'm rambling on, or instead of I'm rambling on, here is the conversation that I had today with Rick and Mr. Keshe, and that he's open, agreed, and I'm looking to get a APEC Keshe plasma field technology knowledge sharing episode collaboration going. And yeah, here's our talk.
Bernard has been trying to formulate a question for the last half hour or so with various comments and so on. And can we allow a few more minutes, Mr. Keshe?
Go on. What is it?
Okay, let's see what he has to say. Go ahead, Bernard.
Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Hello, yes.
Hi, I've been participating on and off with your knowledge seeker workshops for about a decade now, and I've replicated lots of the GANs, the gas, atom, nano, solid state. All right, sorry. Shout out to Mike, Fairday Research, and Gerald, WPG Enlightenment for Truth, in the live chat. If you guys want to join and talk some coil and share some of your guys' recent work, I can send you both the link. Happy to have you on if you're up for it. And yeah, acronym as you call it. Others call it Ormus, or the monoatomics, or the plasmid. And I've also replicated and built a couple of your Magrav coils, and have several examples of that black nano coating that covers all of the wires that are attached to it, even while they're sealed with the plastic coating and all of that. And so All right, so I have to pause it there and bring up the fact that earlier, before I had joined the Zoom on his own, Mr. Keshe had brought up and referenced him describing how the system, the electrical system, so when you make the nano coat and make the maggrav coils and then connect it to the rest of the capacitors, the wires, and the electrical system within your house and whatnot, that it builds a dynamic, this plasma field dynamic where the wires of the rest of the electrical system of the house that's already there grow this black material nano structure coating around all the copper wires of your house and everywhere, creating this plasma state in your electrical system, as opposed to the electric solid copper state that it is regularly, and that in all my electrolysis and experiments and everything that I've made, that I've literally got thousands of examples of exactly that happening, and how wild it is that you can literally will have meters upon meters of extremely thin copper wire that's well coated in like plastic insulator all along with no penetration, and somehow the wire, when you strip it after having it set up in a circuit connected to this plasma system dynamic for a little while, that it's literally cut the plastic off, and somehow all of what usually is copper colored copper is now pure black, and you can have to take a knife to scrape off the black layer before you get to your normally copper colored metal below. And the point of all of that is for later on, but anywho, let's continue to listen. Basically, I have many
You've been through
questions.
the run of the mill, as we call it.
Yes, but I would like to, if possible, schedule a follow-up interview, as well as opportunity, if you would be willing, or if you could get some of the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers presentations together for a APEC conference that I help co-host. It's Alternative Propulsion Engineering Conference, and it's an open source alternative energy, free energy, and anti-gravity research collective with lots of ex-NASA and different North American researchers and stuff, but it would be a very good platform to get your plasma field knowledge. All right. Out there. And for reference, what I am talking about with APEC is, Tim Ventura, the most epic man out there in the field, pardon the pun, along with Jeremy Reese, the alien scientist, Jeremiah Pop, exotic propulsion, Mark Sokol, Simon C., and literally 100 others that it's too much to name right now. I will scroll through and do a section on that in a little bit here. There into the mainstream, as well as myself. I do YouTube now and have started this agricultural alchemy series where I've been using the GANs water Lots of people also call it colloidal water or colloidal silver sort of stuff, but with gold, copper, and zinc in it as well. And it's basically identical to what I saw the agricultural group is in the KFSI organization. And there's just a lot of opportunities and different communities that are understanding and experimenting and working with your GANs, your plasma, as well as these toroid coils that you make and have taught, and that there's actually a platform of researchers in. All right, so to give a little context, Mehran Keshe is, I believe, a third generation Iranian nuclear physicist. His father is actually documented as a former head nuclear physicist or director of the Iranian nuclear program at some point in the past during Mehran Keshe's upbringing. So Mr. Keshe or Dr. Keshe actually literally grew up in nuclear reactor labs. And I believe his grandfather was as well, but I'm not entirely sure on that. But here's the disclosure. Over the 20 years that I've been following the Keshe story, I've seen the videos of him and the documentation of the, I believe, decade, maybe two, that he was in the UK working with, I believe, BAE military contracts after leaving Iran. And then there was the time that he started doing the open source free energy, I believe, in Denmark or Holland for a couple of years, where I believe he also married his wife, had his kids, and then that's when what he documented when I first started joining, participating in the Zooms 10 years ago of, and right, like, or 8 or anyways, it was around approximately a decade at the very beginning that he had then been out of Denmark, out of Austria that he was in for a bit, and was either back in Iran or over in China, possibly Australia. He's all over. It's actually quite wild. But I believe now for the last, actually maybe 8 or 7 years, he's back in Iran, and then goes and works and participates in all the other countries' KFSI sites and organizations. Anyways, point being, he's got quite the advanced and documented background, working group of different countries, and high claims, high technology, and from what I've seen and been able to reproduce, what seems to be a part of the same stuff of the ball lightning, the plasma of what Bob Grenier and the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project all have been working and showing on, as well as the coils and feed circuits and everything, such as what Gerald and Mike are working on as well. So it's all extremely relevant, and especially for Jeremy, as well as with the aerogel. And shout out to Joshua Bertrand. Got to get a hold of him and get a full episode on that. Is far overdue. Hello, Juggernauts from Kansas, and good day, Dan, Solar Marshall. Doing all right. Just finally getting this done so that I can finally go to bed, as it's ridiculous 7 a.m. and I have stuff to do today other than all of this. Anyways, let's get back to playing the rest of our talk. In the Americas that are open source, that can actually comprehend what you're trying to teach, basically. And if you could or would be willing to. All right, it came back to me what I want to talk about. So when he was in Holland, he started getting attacked by what it was, I believe, is this satanic secret society group, the Red Circle, and that they were creating. And I actually witnessed a couple of other people that like joined in, that were like talking in the live chats and started joining in the Zooms, but then we found out that we're actually over in Europe and like going to the meetup, Keshe meetup, like working groups that were like building the stuff and trying to befriending the people and then trying to take their kids, meanwhile simultaneously making accusations of exactly the sick crimes that they themselves were perpetrating against, saying that the foundation was doing it when they were actually doing it against them. It was really effed up and a wild time, and it was a time that Keshe had to like leave Europe, and then somewhere in that time he ended up in Rome, and I witnessed the videos where he straight up is with a bunch of full up cardinals, and they're like speaking Latin or something, and Keshe is showing one of his original working plasma reactors, and he activates it. There's all the sensors going off. They have like a bunch of scientists with them, like straight up the red and white, like, you know, Rome there, and Keshe demonstrating it, and then like this bright light and freaking plasma field, visible blue purple plasma field comes like around it, and that there been over at least 5 different video times people doing the experiments in different areas as well, whether it was the US group, a couple guys in Canada that I've all saw live in it, where they activated these things, and giant purple blue plasma fields, physical visible plasma fields are emitted from it, and that it's it's in parallel with the bagel coils and all of Bob Greenier's work and everybody's work at Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, Space Case Zero, Jeremiah, and it's Gerald, right? Like, well, yeah, right, exactly. Well, and so here's the thing. I also experienced and participated and watched the Keshe Foundation. It was the what was it? Ambassadors disclosure and event. Sorry, let me bring up the right screen here. I'm going to stop halfway there before we continue. In that, let's give the context and show what actually is and all of the documentation. So I highly suggest everything every week at the Keshe Foundation YouTube. They do the live stream of the Knowledge Seeker Workshop, but not just that. They also have teachings in agriculture and all the different languages. I have personally watched and experienced and seen communities from original like individuals to tens to then hundreds to now thousands, like in each different language and country group. that have grown and are doing and partaking in part of this, Keshe, GANs, plasma, Ormus, Magrav, coil tech and growth and testing, and that they also have 10 years worth of these GANs waters on, and the different types, as well as the different amino acids of the oils of the plants and everything. Anyways, what else was I originally trying to show here? For instance, this one they have on the Keshe Foundation sections, I believe, or anyways, one of the tabs you can find showing weight reduction experiments with their different systems back in 2014. This is with some of the monatomic Ormus stuff, different reactors spinning, pressurized, and then in conjunction with coils, I believe. Anyways, there's all sorts of real science, basically, is what I'm trying to get to. Here we go. So here's a setup with the spinning reactors, and then you place the coils around over top. As well as hundreds, if not thousands, of different people making these Magrav units and testing them. And so one thing that always kind of also held me back from fully connecting, setting up into the grid is that a lot of people in their experience and testimonies, not just stated, you could physically see a conscious change and this interaction with some sort of other plasma consciousness when you activated and had these plasma field energy devices running, and that found strange. Wasn't quite ready for it, I guess. I don't know. I would like to find out more on that specific aspect. Let's see, what else was understanding plasma. All right, so the cup of life. This is, I believe, the key to alchemy that Mr. Keshe opened up for me in understanding and working with electrolysis and these GANs, monatomic Ormus materials and science of it, and how simple it really is with just some water and some copper coils and creating the correct nano-coated state. Also zinc, copper, and then nano-coated copper. And that the nano-coated crystalline linear structure is what creates this specific plasma field interaction in the electrolysis reaction electrolyte there to give you the correct breakdown of the solid into the white monoatomic element that I consistently reproduce in each individual colored state of each individual pure metal elements. All right. So this as well, it's so apparently these are the quote unquote current space / maybe health / but it's astral travel units, and what it's a very common system, and it looks just like a Tic Tac, and essentially I believe it's that it creates your ball lightning physical plasma field while also connecting your consciousness to it, so that you have your consciousness physically and consciously connected to a physical plasma ball lightning traveling somewhere physically throughout the rest of the physical time universe simultaneously to your physical body and part of your conscious body also existing back in this physical state dimension is my understanding of the current claim and working of this potential technology and device, and the parallels of exactly that with what we hear and see from many other of the supposed and claimed systems, as well as work of Martin Fleischmann Moore Project, Bob Greenyer's ball lightning, and yeah. Anyways, also the great work of the Martin Fleischmann Memorial Project, Bob Greenyer, specifically right here with the translation of the Russian group talking about the hydromatic machine. Like, it's also connected, and it's about bringing these different research scientists systems that together that all have a key. Probably actually can't hear that, and it's for a later time. But shout out to Bob Greenyer right there, and all the different epic fellow scientists, engineer, researchers producing the different devices, whether it's the Thor, the Thunder Generator, the Lion Reactor, the Ball Lightning, and of course, the Bagel Coil, the triple solenoid coil within the coil within the coil that I had instinctually made, I believe, 8 years ago, while, from making the normal Magrav triple solenoid coil, progressing into what is the Bagel Coil as well. But Bob Greenyer figuring out much more specific design and efficiency and potential out of it, amongst the many different verifying lots of Hutchinson, and shout out to John Hutchinson, all of Hutchinson's work as well. I really gotta get back contact Hutchinson as well, and their crystal battery and the transmutations that he's achieved in all the physical metals, matching so much of my own in my anodes and cathode nanostructured crystalline layer lattices. There we go. Anyways, it's all part transmutation, cold fusion, and what I have found to be the high science of ancient alchemy, and the amazing work that Bob Greenyer does in bringing it all together and bringing all the scientists together, whether it be from Russia, from Denmark, from the UK, from Canada, to all Japan and all over the world, and making sense of it all, and his world travels with it. And yeah, all right, back to the conversation. Finally let it finish, and then I can go to bed. Hooray.
That just
Yes,
changed things overnight, pretty much.
You see it. And love you,
Thank you
brother.
very much
All you, brother.
for booking or arranging a time to give interview or explain this. Send a request to info@keshe.foundation. and put in there that you mentioned. Regarding the agricultural side, you have to speak to Jim in what you call Australia.
Well, I've got just a couple quick questions for you in regards to the color of the GANs, basically the oxide or hydroxides that form off of the different metal elements. And in my own alchemy research experiments and tying it to Sir Isaac Newton's recently released and translated alchemy.
All right, and so here is what I believe is the key to unlocking the superconductivity of metastate solid material, and that I have in suspended state here pure copper coils that have been in these jars and in the red and pink states in a cold, stable state for these specific ones at least 7 and 8 years, respectively, of the pink and the red, since originally sealing them in the jar and solutions that they are. And that I do have these systems wired where there's connecting copper wires to the different copper triple solenoid coils that connect to each other, essentially creating anode cathodes above the water in the sealed air between where they enter and then penetrate down to the bottom of the saline solution and into into the base of some of the GANs Ormus material. All right. What else about that? And that, oh, here we have an active one that I just sealed a month ago, and you can see that it's zinc. Is it gonna focus? There we go. That there's these nanotubes, self-grown in the white stable monoatomic zinc there, building and growing these white nanotube structures from the top of the water to the bottom to the base, and that you have the white stable and then a layer of what looks to be cream yellow, and then purple, and then not quite black, and then brown. Lots of stable states. And this is relative and needs, I believe, an additional science and understanding to the current Keshe group. But anyways, that's what you're about to hear us talk about.
Writings of the colors of the different transmutational states of metal that basically the difference between the white, the blue, the purple, the red, the yellow states, and the black.
There are many colors, and it depends on energy absorption or percentage of energy release into the environment. They change color. We've seen that. We go from blue to black and back to yellow and then blue again.
Yes, so it's the black, like deuterium dihydride.
No.
Sorry,
the copper
yellow
goes
is
black.
Sulfur, right? Sulfide, and then the ancient alchemists say the red is mercury state, but more likely.
No. You have to listen to the word no. He said it many times. You'll get it eventually.
I'm trying to explain.
You're mixing up technologies.
It's not actually that.
That's something we don't use in the Keshe technology. We don't use
color coding.
Metamaterial. and it's a hydride. And that's...
No, you see,
All right, sorry. So just gonna pause it there to give a little context and shout out to Rick Cremond, aka MrFixItick, this lovely gentleman right here, and real scientist and real work over the years. Lots an inspiration, and one who Dutch Sense often references Rick's videos and work with some of the plasma tube vacuum, the spinning plasma, and the different aspects of it. And Rick has done all sorts of awesome plasma experiments and builds over the years, and videos documenting all of it, as well as hosting and moderating the weekly Keshe Knowledge Seeker Workshop open Zoom forums, right? So I don't mind at all when, you know, he gets a little defensive, and, you know, they're not wrong. It's that I believe I've discovered something completely unique in a dish. Well, rediscovered. I can't take claim of being the first. It's that I've rediscovered through the writings of Sir Isaac Newton's alchemy, transmutational color states, and as well as other ancient alchemists' works, my knowledge and well, rediscovery of it all. Anyways, it's all relevant, and when they get a chance to fully show it off and make sense of it to them, and they get the implications, it hopefully will be profound.
Yes, and sorry, I'm not trying to get specifics on that.
No. It's beautiful what you brought up. It's good for knowledge seekers to learn.
Purple, the blue, and the green, each one represent different states of the metal, and whether the amount of oxides or hydrogen.
Again, it's no. Let me.
I should have just let him continue his thought there, but he does get to it here.
Mr. Keshe answer, because the answer is no, 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 and no to everything you're saying.
You see, the color changes in the matter state comes different way than the color changes in the plasma state. And if you go back to, I think it's book 3, I put a little glass tube with different GANs colors in it, and I say they never mix. But they never mix. But if you have percentage of them losing energy, the appearance and the color changes. And then they gain the energy back and they go back to it. In the world of matter state, this hardly ever happens. Because once you take the color and shape, it stays. Because you are interacting with different fields, the interaction of the fields create different lights. This is what happens in plasma, in GANs technology. It's not a permanent color. It's different field strength which manifests itself. So you cannot say you can have a copper going yellow and you can have a zinc going yellow. You can have a zinc going black as copper goes black. It doesn't mean that they're the same black. They're different field strength. And this is the manifestation of understanding the.
So this is the one area where I believe that I have discovered something where Keshe has a misunderstanding of it, and that I've been able to capture and keep these solid color stable states for indefinite now some almost a full decade in the individual colored monoatomic, fluffy, powdered state where it's either a white single atom of the specific metal element, or a blue oxidized or red hydrized. And then there's also the yellow, which they call the sulfur, but who knows, it could just be a different isotope combination and geometric structure of atom of metal element plus hydrogen and oxygen atoms in the particular isotope. Anyways, and outer nano shell of the remaining solid state metal element material that you're intending to interact and harness from the colored plasma state and field energy of these devices and purposes of it all. And that the pure black of certain nano material and nano coating of the copper, specifically the copper maggrav systems, but as well as just this black coating, nano coating on the outside nano layering of the Maggrav and Keshe systems, that is what enables and creates the ability for this superconductivity at regular room and material temperatures through the plasma field interaction and plasma state energy going down to the nano level and absorbing through the structure of this black state or geometry of the remaining outer shell of the metal elements, whether it's copper, gold, silver, zinc, etc. An example of what I'm talking about being right here. This one being a copper, which I used the caustic method of breaking down the outer shell. But you can see that instead of the regular copper colored copper, it's actually black, and that it has this nano coating on it. You can also use flame or electrolysis to create these black coatings, and it's the same black coating that coats all of the wires in the circuit and system that we were discussing earlier, and which I've got many examples to show, and we'll give a live demonstration on the next time that we do all of this, and I'm able to have it set up. All right, so let's finish this off.
Creation of lights in the universe or radiation. So when you speak change of color, it's nothing to do with the chemical effect. It's to do with magnetic field strength changes. And
sir, I absolutely agree with every.
All right, and to give an example of my own experiments proving exactly what he is stating here, is one time when I had the cup of life set up with the two copper coils, one nano coated, one regular, and also another additional zinc plate on it, that it was making the perfect white single atom material when I plugged it in with a single double A, I believe. Yeah, double A battery at a friend's house. It was one of the very first videos that I was setting up to record to document to put onto YouTube, and at the place, and that for some reason I'm trying to understand why I had plugged it in, I guess, to test it out to make sure it worked before setting up the camera to record. I'm trying to understand why I didn't hit record or have recording of it. But point being, as before I could get the camera going, interrupted at my buddy's house. This all I can describe him as a douchebag, or just very not great person, burst into his door all drunk and just completely, the energy of the room, of the house, just crashed, right? Just everything, everything just goes to shit all of a sudden. So anyways, simultaneously as this guy enters the house, the white mono atomic material instantly turns blue, diatomic. Everything in the reaction just boom into blue, and it was like on the other side of the entire house, and just it's crazy. And then as soon as the guy left within 5 minutes, again the reaction changed and started making the orangish brown CH3 compounds. It never went back to the pure white single, and it just wild. And just from someone's presence, a bad it just. So that's actual my experience, an example of real energy field interaction from within a certain distance, right? But within a room. Wow.
Everything you just said, we'll have to continue this conversation at a later time, as I believe I've discovered an additional part of the solid state of the metals in physical color, and that it is a lost ancient science of alchemy and the color scale of transmutational metals, written about in all the different ancient alchemy science texts, specifically Sir Isaac Newton's, and that it might be a key in unlocking the connectivity of the plasma color light state, and the field forces of that specifically, and creating the physical manifestation of that color state in
Let me
metal.
understand what you talk about. Let me explain to you something very interesting. If you manage to make a nanomaterial sheet, in a way, if you can
yes, sir, the latticing, the crystal nano.
Let me explain something. If you take let's say take a sheet of whatever, zinc or copper or whatever, and make a nano layer that you can separate this layer from the zinc. Hold it in your hand and put a mono color underneath of it, and look above it into the material. You will see different colors, very much like a prism. You will see the white changes to different colors in different holes, and sometimes all the colors are the same in all the holes, and then one by one they start changing. Once one changes, the balance of the field changes. It's the same hole, it's the same light. You're not moving anything, because the field interaction of that whole position creates absorption of certain colors or adding of certain fields as it changes the colors. Then you understand what you're trying to say. Even in alchemy, this is not alchemy, it's understanding why they change color. The energy from the matter underneath of going through reflects according to the size and position of it, When you make nano layers, we saw this one for the first time in Ghent University with the professors from electrical engineering department. It was amazing how we hung a piece of wire. Copper was melting inside. You could see it floating like a water, but the nanotube was holding it. And then we started observing different colors coming from different holes.
So I also exactly what he is describing repeats all over on the regular, but I've developed it, I believe, to a much, much, much grander and fuller understanding and actual science, and connecting it, linking it, and reproducing with it all the descriptions of Sir Isaac Newton's transmutational metal element color charts, and so much more. And anywho, we will continue.
The professor brought all the system, the maximum current we could put on this wire. It would not bend, it would not melt, it would not break. But we could see the holes in it. Even go, the material, liquid copper, would not go through the holes we could see light through. Because it's a field strength is different. Because the copper inside is in a plasma condition, even though it looks as matter. This alchemy, you talk about change of color.
Yeah, so we both were able and produce these specific states of the physical matters and elements, and the color states, and we both observed and understood, I believe, completely separate and different, very purposeful and key aspects of these reactions and actions and science, and that Mr. Keshe specifically focusing and understanding and working on the plasma dimension physics inside of it all, while myself is on the solid third matter state of it, where it is fields, waves, and yeah, for plasma state and chemical isotopic reactions, I guess, with the solid state of
colors, materials, we understand this. It depends what hole is there. This is the way the head of your femur decides what do you call it, limbs come out as a white cell, red cell, or whatever else. This we know. It's not alchemy, we don't understand. This is a physics now with producing nanomaterials we have seen, if you observed it 15 years ago, plus, physically. So you haven't discovered a new state of matter alchemy. When you create this condition, you get this condition. You get the light reflection from the energies of the matter going through these holes. And so it manifests itself as different color.
Bernie was just suggested to share his camera. He has several jars of specific GaNs materials of specific
I have
colors.
tons of, they keep on changing colors. When sometimes I go to the lab, I see some ganses which were different color before, they're different, and observed this one for years. They change because they transfer energy from each other.
So he's not wrong with anything that he's stating there, but whoops, what I've been able to produce, show, and rediscover and begin to understand is the electrochemical reactions and aspects of all of the electrolysis in between it, and the ancient alchemy science of all of this, and their full understanding of it, and the Can see some of the yellow here in the top second from the left photo. The bottom half here, it's all yellow, and the top blue, oxidized. The far right, a white cloud amongst the blue copper oxide, along with most of the bottom pictures. And then the bottom right there, what we dubbed the patriotic reaction. It's a triple copper colloids, tripping over my words. A triple copper solenoid coil of, I believe it's either looks like 18, because I wind in 9s, and I always wind copper. Yes, I wind copper counterclockwise in segments of 9. 3, 6, 9. And here we can see, or maybe it is 9. Maybe it's 3 of them. It's either 3 or 6 that are the top portion that are white, and it's a white state. The middle is another 3 or 6, which is blue, and the bottom is another 3 or 6, which is red, but it's far too small probably for anybody to see what the heck I'm talking about right now. So I'm gonna run over and try to open up a larger picture for you. And there we can all see it. And so there's a single wire going through the center, and then 2 toroid copper coils around the center one, and that it's red, white, and blue. From being active and reactive, eroding away on the anode side of the electrolysis reaction, and all in one there producing the 3 different states: the hydride, the mono single atom, and the diatomic blue oxides, all off of and one single copper coil reaction. Okay. Let's finish off the last couple minutes and tie it all together.
If you put your gases bottles next to each other, see sometimes your gases start going up the side of the jar, which should not do. All the waters, all the materials should be on the same level. You see they start creeping up. It's like a moon at nighttime, you know, when you get the cycles of the rivers or oceans. Put your jars of nanomaterial gases next to each other and see how they change shape, not only the color. And how they change shape, it changes the color in them or the others, because they give energy, they absorb energy.
You want to have a look at those? Do you want to have a look at those jars,
No,
Mr.
it's
Keshe?
okay. I understand. I've seen this a lot. I understand that. The color changes with it. For your agriculture, right, Keshe Foundation, we put you in touch with Jim, because he can give you a lot of knowledge. We can collaborate with you in what you're trying to do. And you can talk to Dr. Gaspar in that side. Regarding if you want to share knowledge with the scientists and scientific world in US, write to info@keshe.foundation. Explain you have talked to me to the meeting and you want a meeting to be done.
So, of course, I did exactly that. And so I tried a couple of the different Keshe Foundation info at Keshe Found. So I either got address not found, or then this one message blocked, and it just said access denied. So I don't know, but hopefully I tried several different combinations, so maybe hopefully one got through. And I also emailed Rick, so hopefully we are able to schedule and follow through with the follow-up full interview with both Rick as well as Mr. Keshe. And let us finish things off on a live demonstration of an example of how the colloidal or the GANs or the monatomic Ormus water freezes. You can see the several different bands of the bubbles and the exclusion zones between them. And yeah, that's what happens. Look at that. Just wild. Bubbles and no bubbles. That is structured water at its finest, frozen in a solid plasma field state, visible for all. And it doesn't matter what shape of ice cube you try it, do it in, you get these different fields, exclusion zones in every one. Every geometry, I guess you can always see that as well. And another. It's just how it structures and freezes. All right. Good day, Miss Understood, Kate Mahoney, Elkman, Dazzle, been with us from the beginning, Quantum Epic. Of course, Gerald, WPG Enlightened for Truth, as well as Faraday Research, Brother Mike, and Solar Marshall, damn brother, everyone being here today. Thank you all. Mr. Health, Science Evidence Fringe. I believe we are almost done. I believe this has been a very good episode and example of some sharing some knowledge and the understanding experiments of this different metamaterial and plasma field physics, coils, geometries, and structures of energy.
And it'll be a pleasure to share knowledge. It'll be fantastic to do it. Something which I have to explain to you. Next week, Keshe Foundation will give a presentation to the Italian structure. We don't know how long it's going to be, which will be translated to Italian. Is not a live presentation. They do the whole, what you call like interview, and then it'll be translated into Italian and it presents a professional way to understand more about the technology and different aspects of technology. So we will give you the link in the next couple of weeks after they actually do the interview and they translate it in the correct way. It's not a live translation. It'll be recorded, translated, and it's somebody who's famous in Italy apparently. With that, we'll do this interview. And then maybe some of you learn as knowledge, because in the English version of it, some will learn the Italian translation of it. Thank you very much. Send the information to us and then we'll see how we can collaborate with your people in different platforms. Thank you very much, Rick.
All right. So, yeah. So, Hopefully we are able to get in touch, schedule, and follow up with Dr. Mehran Keshe and all of his work, as well as Mr. Fixit Rick Crammond and all of their decades of building, experimenting, working with plasma systems, as well as the ORMUS scans, monoatomics, and plasma state. And shout out to Gerald and shout out to Mike, and I will be in touch to schedule another new Real Science with all of you, my friends, and wishing everybody a blessed day. We will be back tonight with Julia Kamen and Hans Dietrich for episode 17 of what is a woo-woo Wednesday but on Thursday. And with that, I wish you all a blessed day and adieu until we see you again tonight. Ta-ta!